Josh, observations of teachers. Quite essential.
Is it essential? Yes. Well, it's all part of the system, I suppose, of evaluating teachers, evaluating learning in the school. It's not everyone's favourite thing. I actually really enjoy it, but I'm aware that, teachers find it a difficult thing. I suppose there are, first of all, different kinds of observations. You might have an annual observation, followed by an appraisal. That's fairly traditional, I'd say. But then you might have other things during the year, little buzz observations, go and see the team, what's
peer
happening.
Observations.
And then you want to encourage teachers to observe each other. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's really, really useful.
I think the teacher, possibly, not always, the teacher can think that, they're trying to, find out the faults and everything, but actually from a DoS's point of view, it's probably more about finding the positives, is it?
Definitely. I mean, I obviously you want...
Or is it?
No, I mean, I think, when there's worries and problems and little issues with performance, I mean, we're a quality school, which is, perhaps in some ways quite expensive. And I think, our students, obviously we have feedback mechanisms, but our students would come and tell me quite quickly if there was a real problem with the teacher. You might then follow that up with a chat, and if there's a continued problem, you might then, I'm going to observe you. But that is so rare here. I mean, I can't remember when that's ever happened. So for me, observations, appraisals, it's so much more about, looking for ways to help find the teacher develop. Have an outside eye on what's going on, and then a discussion about what, the aims, the intentions, what the teacher thought was happening,
but actually we're observed quite a lot here, the teachers, because of it's a teacher training centre.
Yeah, and I think that's such a positive.
Every kind of Thursday.
Yeah, the trainees for their teaching practice, they have their live obs, and I think that is a plus, because ideally you want a teaching team who are happy, who actually might even invite you in, and it's not an issue, and if you can achieve that, that's great.
And would you like to do more DoS observations of the teachers, or is that too much kind of...
No, I mean, I do enjoy...
Strangulation, freakish control, or what?
Yeah, no, I mean, what I'd like to see more, really, is sort of more inquiry-based observations in little, perhaps mini teams or micro teams of teachers. I think I was reading recently about how someone from mainstream education, where they have Ofsted and they have real grading of lessons and that kind of thing, how actually, learning potentially, it's a moot point, but learning maybe is actually invisible. How can you see learning? And having someone observe you and then say, well, it should have been like this, or this happened. It's, is that actually achievable? So I'm much more interested in seeing if we can build systems and ways for teachers to ask questions about pedagogy, and then observe each other and discuss, and then I'm quite interested in that. I don't think I need to observe them more.
What do you think is the most effective? Is it like a buddying up observation?
Yeah.
Pairing up?
Yeah, I think something like that, an element of mentoring. I mean, it's great as well when our teachers go through the diploma, and they have to do an observation portfolio, and they have questions and they observe colleagues.
Yeah.
Jonathan, for example, at the moment is someone doing that. And I think, that it'd be great to see that a little bit more, and I'd like to try and work on that.
Long-term goal number
8.
And what about that kind of, hands-on DoSing or hands-off? Is that a fine tightrope to balance?
Yeah.
If that's a phrase.
Getting that metaphor in my head. Yeah, I think it's one of those things about how do you motivate your teachers, and I think the less prescriptive you are, the better. You set some standards and you set some frameworks, but then ideally teachers want to be left alone, and you want your teachers actually to take that kind of ownership, to be creative, to, so, I know in some contexts it's very like, well, you were saying before, we did this, page 28 on this day, and, very...
Yeah, that's in schools I've worked at abroad, yeah.
And that is quite common abroad. But here I think, you have broad parameters, expectations, which are clear, and then you let the teacher get on with it.
So it comes down to good recruitment, essentially.
Yeah, I suppose so. And being clear when here, being, clear that we're striving for excellent teaching standards.
Yeah.
But yeah, not trying to getting out of the way is important as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.